Boxing's own Abbas Hussain from behind the gloves, and I'm here with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, we've just finished the press conference between Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. What did you make of that? Did you expect it to be fireworks? It was a bit more calm, but they were ready to chomp at it.
Yeah. It was calm at first, and then obviously they did the head-to-head, and it's you just got to be careful. We've got a code of conduct to follow. We know there's bad blood. We know there's history. This is the biggest fight of the year in the UK, no question. And come December 12th, the anticipation for this fight is going to be huge. But I think they both behaved. You know, there was a few things said in the head-to-head, which was okay. There's a long way to go. There's 5 weeks on Saturday, so there's plenty of time for some rolling around.
And in regards to Anthony Joshua, if he wins, what sort of route are you looking at taking after this fight?
Well, I like the European title fight against Tepper. Really, get this fight out of the way, and it's really moving towards the world title. That's a situation that really, I feel like he's 3 or 4 fights away from challenging for the world title. So if he keeps improving at the rate he is improving, then that world title is going to come sooner than people think, because if he keeps demolishing people, but Dillian's a real test. I think a lot of people think Anthony's just going to walk through Dillian. This is a guy who's invested in himself. This is a guy who's been out to the Kronk. He's taken Jonathan Banks on board. He's in the Klitschko camp. He ain't here to mess around. He's here to win this fight. He's beaten Joshua before, and he believes he'll beat him again.
Where do you think Dillian Whyte can maybe threat Anthony Joshua in the fight?
I think he can punch, and I think he's not afraid to let his hands go. I think he's going to have stern resistance. I think he's dangerous, and I think for Josh it's all about controlling his emotions. If he goes into this fight without controlling his emotions, then it's a dangerous fight for Anthony Joshua.
In regards to the undercard for this fight, there's Eubank Jr. after fighting Sullivan. When are we going to be looking at a press conference for that? Because we know that one's going to be quite feisty anyway.
Definitely going to be feisty. But next Thursday, there'll be a press conference for Eubank Jr. and Spike Sullivan, and that's going to be one to remember. And big fights announced soon for Bellew, Mitchell, Campbell as well, all on the card.
In regards to Eubank Jr., you've just signed him up. He fought only a couple of weeks ago. What's the sort of route for him, and is there a potential fight with Golovkin somewhere in the...
The O'Sullivan fight is a final eliminator for the WBA title. So the winner of Jacobs against Quillen fights the winner of O'Sullivan against Eubank. Perfect spot. And if he can win that world title, then of course the fight with Golovkin is right up there. But, they've got aspirations to fight these guys, and they'll fight anyone. O'Sullivan's a dangerous fight. He didn't have to take that fight, but he wants that fight. And again, next week, that's going to be a great press conference.
I want to quickly just talk about yesterday's announcement of Scott Quigg versus Carl Frampton. I want to ask you about the struggles of making that fight, because it took a long time making that fight. What was the sort of struggles in making that fight?
Well, I don't think you got enough tape in that camera, but listen, these fights, they take a long time to make, and it's only really at the end when you think that was all worth it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just pleased to get it made. There was a lot of egos to deal with, not just from the fighters, but from me as well, and from Barry McGuigan, and in the end, it's just a desire that everybody involved wanted to make the fight. And that's how you get fights made. Because when you all really want it, you find a way. And if there's someone that doesn't want the fight, then the fight won't get made.
Is there a rematch clause for that fight?
No. It's, if the fight is great, we'll do it again. So, it's a unification fight, February 27th, Manchester Arena.
I saw Carl Froch talking about that fight. He said he can't split either fighter. Has Carl got in touch with you recently saying that he might want to come back? Is there any inkling that he might come back?
I think that he's always got that competitive spirit in him. Ultimately, I don't think he'll come back, but he's walking around under 13 stone. Saw a picture of him the other day, he's ripped to shreds. And him against Golovkin remains a massive fight, but my gut feeling is that's the end for the Cobra.
Finally, just want to talk about Al Heyman. I read a report recently where he said he's trying to invade the UK and maybe talk to different TV channels about showing his fights in the UK. Is that a potential threat to yourself for Matchroom Boxing?
We're talking together about those kind of things. I want as much competition as possible. I do a lot of work with him. If he comes to the UK, I think it'd be great for boxing. I've got a 6-year exclusive deal with Sky. I'm the only promoter that can be on a channel. I can't go anywhere else, so I know what I'm doing for the next 6 years.
So he can't hinder your sort of promotion?
No, but you know, I mean, I'm working. You know, don't forget we've got Lee Selby, we got James DeGale. We're both with him at the moment, and I'm trying to sign Jamie McDonald to him. So we're working together. We're making some great fights. Will the PBC come to the UK? I think it's none of my business, but I guess they want to master the US first. They've got a lot of work to do there, but you know, a lot of people think that I wish bad things on other promoters. No. I want other promoters to drive me to get up in the morning, and I haven't had enough competition because these promoters in the UK have been dwindling under my success rather than fighting back. So I do think if Al comes over here, we'll be doing a lot of work together. But you know, if not, I'm up for it. You know, I love the challenge. So, but like I say, our 6-year future's mapped out. I can't go anywhere else. So we're in a great spot.
Finally, there's a big card in Liverpool this weekend. How do you see that fight between Callum Smith and Rocky Fielding going?
I think it's an absolute wonderful fight for British boxing. I think it's the biggest fight of the year so far. And I think that it's a 50-50 fight. I think people underestimate Rocky Fielding. I think he punches a lot harder than people think. And I think he's got the bit between his teeth. Callum is, you know, he's had the build-up. Everyone's talking about him the favourite to win. He really, really has a tough fight against Rocky Fielding on Saturday night. I think it's too close to call.
Just before we do go, what's the sort of next couple of months schedule for Matchroom Boxing?
Well, it's mad busy. Obviously, we've got Callum Smith against Rocky Fielding. Then we've got Crawler against Perez for the world title. Abraham against Murray. Then we've got Klitschko against Fury. We'll probably have a fighter or two on that card as well. We've got James DeGale against Lucien Bute. Then we've got Joshua against Dylan Whyte. Eubank Jr. against Spiko. So this is just in the next 5 weeks. So it's a mad finish to the year.
Eddie, thank you very much for talking behind the gloves.
How you doing, guys? This is Anthony Joshua, one of UK's hottest British prospects coming up in the heavyweight division. Stay tuned, stay locked. You're tuned into Behind the Gloves.